Welcome in, everybody. Today we're going to discuss a little buy low, sell high. Getting a little bit of news first. If you watched the waiver episode yesterday, I didn't really discuss that A.J. Brown was going to miss multiple weeks due to this hamstring injury. I did discuss that these things tend to linger on, so it's no surprise that they're going to keep him out multiple weeks to kind of play it safe. No real receivers that I want to touch in that beyond Devontae Smith, and he's not going to be on waivers, so you don't got to worry about that. Then Deebo Samuel came out that had a calf strain, is going to miss multiple weeks. That one was kind of a surprise. Juwan Jennings is a big pickup on waivers this week for that one. So get your waiver claims in. But Brandon Ayuk should have a big hike in his production. No Christian McCaffrey, no Deebo Samuel. Finally probably getting his feet under him from missing most of camp, pretty much all of camp, due to his contract negotiations. So those are only two bit of news I really have. Also, Joe Mixon, injury seems to be kind of minor. So no word on whether he'll miss or not yet. So Cam Akers could be a good grab just in case, but don't spend too much on him because it could end up being not as bad as what they're putting on, even though they're not putting on as bad, but it could be even less serious than that. And he could end up playing this week, and Cam Akers will be nothing. So you don't want to spend too much on Cam Akers. So I'm going to get into my buy lows here. All three of my buy lows are wide receivers. And both my sell highs are running backs. So stick around, get some good names here. First and foremost, Jamarr Chase. Jamarr Chase is the lowest he's going to be. He should skyrocket after this next week. Started out against the Patriots, halfway decent game. Not on Jamarr Chase levels, but he had 6 targets, 60 plus yards against a halfway decent defense. But he was also coming off of a camp, just like Ayuk, where he missed a lot of camp due to negotiations, so it's probably just getting his feet under him. Second week, playing the Chiefs. Spagnuolo likes to take away the top receiving threat. He did it the first week with Mark Andrews. He did it with Jamarr Chase this last week. Over the next 4 weeks, Jamarr Chase plays the Commanders, the Panthers, the Ravens, and the Giants. Jamarr Chase's value is going to skyrocket over the next few weeks. So if you can get him now before this week, do so, because after this, you're going to pay a lot more. Jamarr Chase started out the same way last year. Subpar. He had 10 targets for 70 yards, and then he exploded for 141 in week 3. So if you want Jamarr Chase, now's your time, because after this week, you're not going to get him. My next buy low, Chris Olave. So with Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed has been getting a lot of the hype due to his big play ability. Well, that big play ability plus the run game has led them to to 2 games where they've kind of jumped out ahead early, and they've leaned on the running game. So Chris Olave has really been a factor, but they're going to start playing more formidable opponents. I mean, Dallas was a good opponent. I'm not saying they weren't defensively, but they're not going to jump out and score 40 points in every game. It's just not going to happen. Over the next four weeks, they have Philly, Atlanta, KC, and Tampa Bay. They're not going to have 40-point games against all those teams. So Shaheed will be that big play guy, sort of like a Deshaun Jackson type, where he's going to either be a boom or he's going to be a bust. If he doesn't have that big play or that big touchdown, Rashid Shaheed's going to be a bust. Not saying you shouldn't roster him. Rashid Shaheed he should be on all rosters. Maybe even be a sell high. But Chris Olave should see a bump in production, targets, and yardage over the next few weeks as this New Orleans offense settles down a little bit. They can't keep up this pace. It's just not feasible. If they do, they're going to break all sorts of NFL records, and I don't see that happening. Let's see. Next buy low is his old college teammate, Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson, past few years, has been abysmal due to quarterback play. We have Aaron Rodgers. Everybody was hyped up about Aaron Rodgers being there. Everybody needs to remember Aaron Rodgers is coming off Achilles injury. It's going to take him a few games. I'm not saying he's going to be the Aaron Rodgers of old, but even if he's a shell of his former self, he's still better than what Garrett Wilson's had. They're going to create the chemistry. They're going to grow together. And Garrett Wilson started out the season against the 49ers and then shadowed by L'Jarius Sneed when they played the Titans. He's not going to face that every week. Garrett Wilson and Rodgers' chemistry should grow. And the weapons, receiving weapons for the Jets is still very limited. You got the backs in Hall and Braylon Allen after his kind of breakout game. But until Mike Williams comes back full time, it's going to be very limited on receiving competition for Garrett Wilson. So grab him now, just like the other two. You better grab them now because as the season goes on, they're only going to grow. They're going to be those top 10, top 15 receivers that you drafted them to be. So grab them while you can. So let's get into the sell highs. Now, this first name, it's going to be hard because people drafted him so low and they're excited about what he has done so far. J.K. Dobbins, he's played two opponents that the Chargers have been able to run that run game on. Last week, 44 rushing attempts, something like that. He and Gus Edwards are still splitting pretty much down the middle. Now, what's going to happen when they meet an opponent that's going to put up points against them, and they're not going to be able to run it 44 times? Yes, they're still going to run it a lot. But if you even split less than 44, say it's 30 times, and you throw in a couple rushes for some other backs, he's going to have to be extremely efficient. The Chargers have only had a few carries inside the 5 this year. So all of Dobbins' work, for the most part, has come outside the 5. The touchdowns have come from outside the 5. If he's not getting those goal line touches, which they've split them pretty much just like everything else right now, he's not going to get those points. He's not going to be the RB4. He won't be able to keep up that pace. The next 3 weeks for the Chargers are Pitt, which is a stout defense, KC, which they're going to put up points against them. They have a bye, and then they roll up against Denver. So now's the time to try to sell him for see if you can get him for one of these or get one of these top end backs for him. Like I know JJ Zachariason from the Late Round podcast put a poll up, and if you would rather have Jahmyr Gibbs or J.K. Dobbins the rest of the season, 20% of people said they'd rather have J.K. Dobbins for the rest of the season, which blows my mind. So if you can get Jahmyr Gibbs for J.K. Dobbins, go do so. But if you can get a good haul for J.K. Dobbins, get it. Now, am I saying he's a must sell? Don't sell him for nothing because he's still a back who's getting production. You don't want to get nothing for him. So make sure you're getting a haul because he is still the RB4 right now. So you should be able to get something good for him. This next back hurts me, but Rachaad White. Rachaad White's efficiency has been bad. Not just this year. It was bad last year. Now Bucky Irving's coming in, and he has been efficient. And now Rachaad White's dealing with a groin injury, and Bucky Irving may see more carries. And if he sees more carries and he keeps up the efficiency, this season may be an even split the rest of the way, because the Bucs should notice that Bucky Irving is more efficient, the more efficient back, and it's going to help them more as a team. So you may see more of an even split, or even Bucky Irving getting the higher end of that split as the season goes on. So sell high on Rachaad White while you can. And that's all I have right now. I could probably go on with a few more, but those are the 5 big ones that I kind of have at this point in the season. And this is the point in the season where you're going to buy guys like this, because we're 2 weeks in and people are going to start panicking. So if you like the content, hit that subscribe button in the bottom corner, hit the bell so you get notifications when we post something new, and give us a comment. Let us know what you think, and we will catch you guys tomorrow.